everybody, how you doing? My name is Brick. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I like to do crime stories based out of Michigan. And I also like to do it with a glass of wine. So if you want to unwind with crime with me, pour you a glass of wine too. And let's jump into this crime. I like to watch series like Snap, 48 Hours, Fear Your Neighbor, Thy Neighbor, Dateline. Anything that's related to true crime, real crime, it always caught my interest. You could blame that on my degree in criminal justice. I don't know. Also, if I'm doing a crime story here in Michigan, sometimes I will run across a crime story that is also on a series. And if it is, I will put it in the description box just in case you would like to view it also. So today, the crime story I'm doing, it does have a series attached to it, and it's called Calls from the Inside. So I will put all that in the description box if you would like to watch the crime that I'm about to talk about. The crime I'm about to talk about today, it happened on January the 13th of 2017, okay? So, before I get into the details, I want you to see a clip of the news airing about this horrific, senseless crime. Here it goes.
Yeah, Curtis and Heather, what a heartbreaking story. A young mother gunned down outside this home here behind me in Warren. This is in the Stone Ridge Heritage Village neighborhood near 13 Mile and Mound. And right now, police desperately trying to figure out who pulled the trigger.
Right now, our family is just trying to take it all in and to accept the fact that she's no longer going to be with us.
The heart-wrenching reality still so fresh for the family of July Johnson. The 34-year-old was shot this morning outside her boyfriend's Warren home. Around 7:30, Warren police got a 911 call. We're told it was Johnson's boyfriend who made that call and said he heard gunshots and came out of the house to find her on the front yard, lying next to her car. Police say Johnson had been shot multiple times in the torso. She was pronounced dead in the hospital.
She was a beautiful young lady, single mom, worked hard to take care of herself and her child. Everyone loves her.
Sources say her boyfriend reported seeing someone running from the scene right after the gunshots, but at this point, police are still looking for the shooter. They did use canines to try and look for a gun in case it had been tossed out in the area, but didn't find one. Right now, police say they're exploring every lead trying to solve this murder. They've also been talking to Johnson's boyfriend.
We're waiting for the detectives to do their job, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Wait for them to give us the answers that we need.
And as they wait for those answers, Johnson's sister says they'll stick together and rely on their faith.
She has lots of cousins that love her, lots of aunts, uncles, her siblings, of course. And so it's just going to be hard. But with God, we'll get through it.
Again, police are talking to the boyfriend, but at this point, they say they have no persons of interest in this case or any suspects. They say they're using all of their resources, their special ops and Macomb County FBI Violent Crimes Task Force. They're also looking for any surveillance video that may provide some clues. Of course, if you have any information that can help investigators, please call Warren Police. Live in Warren, Anu Prakash, 7 Action News.
Anu, thank you.
So on this day, January the 13th of 2017, July Johnson, of 34 years old, who was a mother, a daughter, an auntie, a friend, a loved one. She was slain and murdered in front of her boyfriend's house for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. So let's jump into the details of this crime and get to the nitty-gritty of who was responsible for it. So the first person they're going to investigate, okay, is always the person that is closest to you, okay, any crime, you know. And in this case, it's the boyfriend, her boyfriend, Jim Terrell Latner. He was the last person seen with her, and the last person who, and the first person who made the phone call, who noticed that she was gone, okay? So, however, they're interviewing him and they put him in a police car. He's distraught. They're asking him, do you know anyone who would want to do this? Now, when you know someone she know, he said no one that he would know that would want to do any harm to her or would try to get back at him to her. So they search his home, and upon searching his home, they find over $500,000 and 7 cell phones. Okay, so to be fair, Mr. Latner, he does own a business. He owns a car wash, so this could money could potentially be from his business. Okay, but with the cell phones, they also felt like it was pretty excessive for someone to have cell phones. Okay, of seven among two people, I should say. So, anyhow, with the money stashed everywhere throughout the home, it was in duffel bags, boxes, everywhere in the garage and closets. They actually had to call out two supervisors to make sure the money was properly inventoried and collected and taken back to the police headquarters. When it came to the cell phones, they did go through the cell phones and do some research on that also. Okay. Now, it was a contact in the cell phones that kept coming up, and the contact was Marcy Griffin. Marcy Griffin and him had been in a relationship, and they have two children in common. Okay, so with these two children that they have in common, you know, they felt like okay, and because of the nature of the texts she was texting him, this could be some kind of motive. She would text all kinds of derogatory things concerning his current girlfriend named July that had just been slain and murdered. Basically, calling her bitch's. She hate him. She's gonna get him back. She's gonna do this to her. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so they're also looking for other evidence in this crime. Okay, beyond just her boyfriend. So they want to search all the cameras in the area. The neighbors, the businesses. The closest business was a fitness center business. On this camera of the fitness center business, they seen a vehicle parking there right before the slaying and right after the slaying. Someone got out before the slaying, someone returned after the slaying. So they had at least two people in that vehicle. One was a driver and one was a passenger. So they walked some routes that they would think that whoever got out that vehicle would take that will take them to Mr. Latner's house, okay, at that morning. So during the routes that they took, they found a 9mm handgun, and they also found some hand gloves, and they also found a $20 bill. So back to the boyfriend. After searching through his phone and finding all those messages concerning Marcy Griffin, his children's mother. They also investigated a lot of other people, and Marcy Griffin's name kept coming up, kept coming up. They said that she had been threatening him. She even came up to his business recently because Mr. Latner and Miss Johnson had just got back from a vacation, okay, prior to the holidays. They went to Vegas. And there was something mentioned about a marriage on Facebook. So Miss Griffin, Marcy Griffin, thought that, oh, he married this woman? So she was furious. So in her head, she thinks that he can potentially be married. She for some reason couldn't let go of her children's father. There was no longer a relationship. I'm hoping he wasn't leading her on. You know how that can go, but from what I hear, he was done with her and moved on. And from the moment he moved on, Miss Griffin, Marcy Griffin, could not let that happen. Just couldn't let it happen. So they said that she even came up to his place of business and threatened him. So she said something in the effect of, "On my daddy, I'm going to get you, and you're going to feel this in your stomach." I have a clip of that also, okay? It came from Calls from the Inside, the series that is airing this horrific story. So I want you to watch the clip.
I don't know who real did all this. Listen, who cares? What's the secret? I love the baby. If I got married,
if I got married, you'd know. So that lends credibility to the statement that she was upset about a wedding.
You scary. You scary. You was a scary. Y'all remember this conversation? I promise you on my day. I'm getting you. I'm gonna go and hit you in your stomach with this.
Exactly. Terrible, right? She was angry. She was mad, very mad if he married her. So, as you can hear him saying, he would have told her if he married her. He did not marry this woman, but if he did, y'all not in a relationship no more. That's his business. However, moving on, they had also confiscated Mr. Latner's vehicle. In his vehicle, in a hidden compartment, they also found an additional $6,000 in cash, and they found a 9mm handgun. Now, Mr. Latner had a felony from the past, okay? He had been in prison in the past and had a felony. So he was not supposed to be in contact with any firearms. So they did arrest him on that. So that's all the evidence. That's what he originally got arrested for. It had nothing to do in connection with her murder. But the mere fact that they found the 9mm handgun and they knew that the handgun that Miss Johnson was shot with was a 9mm, at the time that did raise suspicion. Okay, but when the ballistics came in, the other handgun that they found in the area, okay, they found that in grassy area near the fitness center and his home, in between that area of the killing, that handgun ended up matching the ballistics. So that ruled out Mr. Latner's gun of being the gun involved in his girlfriend's killing, which was good. So now they know that, based on the fact that this handgun matches um, the people who probably got out that vehicle, it was somebody else. Now they have to find who those people were. Okay. So since Miss Griffin had all this anger and rage, they wanted to confiscate her phone. They noticed after looking through her phone that on January the 13th, the day of the killing, that all her text messages and call messages and voice calls or whatever had been erased. Now I don't know, in this day and time, anyone who don't know, if you erase your call log, if you erase your text messages, if you Google anything, search anything, it still can be recovered. You didn't get rid of nothing. Just make you a little bit more, suspect. That's all. So when they do all of this through her phone, they can still retrieve who she contacted with on that day. And doing so, on the 12th, the day before the crime at night, she was talking to somebody. And on the day right after the killing, she was talking to somebody who had been deleted from her phone. So they had a phone number. They wanted to know who did this other phone number belong to, though. Who this phone number belonged to. So therefore, the phone had went dead. The phone actually went dead after the killings, after the initial killing, for 2 weeks. So they could not figure out who owned this phone because the phone was turned off. They wanted to find this phone. They didn't think they would be able to find this phone. They thought that maybe this phone would never cut on. So one day out the blue, in the wee hours of the morning, the phone turned back on. they were so happy. So they ended up trailing the vehicle who had the phone in it. The person went to a car wash. Now, this ain't the same car wash that is connected to Terrell Latner, not his car wash, but a random car wash. Pulled up with guns out. So they want to talk to this person who had this phone. Come to find out, the person who had this phone name was George Ryder. So they're talking to George Ryder, they're interviewing him, asking him, hey, do you know a Marcy Griffin? He said no. And so they was like, are you sure? Because you were talking to her. How you don't know her? He was like, well, if I do know her, I don't know her by her name. So they showed her a picture, showed him a picture. He denied knowing her from the picture. So, okay. He did have that phone on him. They ended up confiscating that phone. Now, it was a big ordeal with that cell phone. Because when they took his cell phone, they didn't have a warrant for it. But they knew that that cell phone was very important, and they felt the need to take it because they didn't want that phone to be destroyed. And they felt like if they didn't take it then, it would be their last chance of getting that cell phone. So Mr. Ryder eventually did have to try to get that cell phone evidence thrown out because it was retrieved illegally, but it didn't go nowhere. So Mr. Ryder was eventually he was incarcerated. He was locked up that day. So they have a phone call of Mr. Ryder, which you can clearly hear him in there. If you watch the series, I encourage you to he's talking to someone on the phone saying that basically they're trying to say that I knew this woman and she was my girlfriend, but how she gonna be my girlfriend? I only knew her for 2 weeks. So he was telling the police that he didn't know the woman, but he's telling somebody on the phone, calls from the inside, that he knew her for only 2 weeks. Because the police was saying, hey, were you in a relationship with this woman? Because some of the texts that they had on the phone, you could clearly see that they were either in a relationship or on the onset of being in a relationship, okay? To the texts. So you could tell he knew her very well, okay? So anyhow, they knew that, okay, Ryder did not fit the description of the person that was on the videotape for the fitness center. So they was thinking maybe it's somebody else too. It had to be another person. So when they was looking through Ryder's phone, also in connection with the conversations that he had with Miss uh, Marcy Griffin, it was a contact that said Eric Gibson. So they wanted to know who this Eric Gibson was. So they looked for Eric Gibson. Found out that Eric Gibson is written a house or living in a house that is owned by George Ryder. So they know that he and Eric has a close relationship because he's renting the house from him or living in his house. However, so they also find out that Eric Gibson had got pulled over a day before the slaying, before July Johnson was killed, which was the 13th of January. Eric Gibson was pulled over on July 12th of January. And the car that he had got pulled over in was the same vehicle that was under the security camera at the fitness center. So now, there go that connection. There it go, all three of them. Marcy Griffin the jealous woman that can't let go, is in a relationship or ongoing set relationship or to start in a relationship, or she knows him very well, whether it was romantically, she knows him or whatever, with George Ryder. From George Ryder, Eric Gibson. So there go a trio right there, all three of them. 1, 2, 3. No question. So from there, they end up putting everything together and finding out that Miss Marcy Griffin is the ringleader of all of this. She got her soon to be or current boyfriend, whatever it is, George Ryder. From George Ryder, he got his friend, Eric Gibson, to commit the murder. So all this because you just simply could not let go of someone who don't want you. Wow, that's terrible. And you know what? I don't understand murder, period, unless it's self-defense in that moment. But when it comes to Eric Gibson and George Ryder, what was your reason? I don't get it. I really don't. As far as George Ryder, if you're interested in this chick, the first thing that would discourage me from being in a relationship with you is that why I want you? You can't even get over your ex and what he doing. Definitely don't know what Eric Gibson, how he figured he gonna kill somebody where he got out the deal. I would love to know what you were supposed to get out the deal, because all y'all got was life, premeditated life sentence. That's all y'all got. Yes, all three of you. Marcy Griffin, George Ryder, Eric Gibson, life, life, life. Yeah. But here go their Otis, okay? Their Otis is online tracking system information. It's where you can go on and view their crime, what prison they was in, the time of their crime, the length of their crime, all that information. As you can see with Marcy Griffin, she's at the only women's prison there is here in Michigan, Huron Valley Women's Facility. Life, premeditated life. Eric Gibson, he's at the Chippewa Correctional Facility. Life, premeditated life. And he also has another crime, the gun crime, because he had that gun. He didn't want to commit the shooting. George Ryder, life, premeditated murder, life. Yeah. So I mean, me personally don't feel like it's justice, because I'm an eye for an eye. I wish we had the death penalty. I think for me, that's the only thing that would happiness me for one of my loved ones being gone is the same thing you did to mine. But again, you know, they're not on the street. Um, authorities do feel like they would have killed again if they would have got away with this crime. So I'm so happy that it didn't happen. Didn't play out like that. That they got away. So I will put the description in there. Calls from the Inside, season 1, episode 5. If you like this crime story and you want to hear some more, keep tuning in. I will have more crazy crimes, more horrific crimes, just all varieties of crimes that happen here that just don't make no sense that people have committed. Okay, and yeah, so if you like this crime stories, please comment, hit that button and subscribe. Okay, and I will talk to you or see you in the next video. Bye and have a great one.